Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Ben and I are here for part 2 of our tournament picks. Starting with the American today, we'll then move into the SEC and the Pac-12. We did the Big Ten, the Big East, the ACC, and the Big 12 yesterday.
Yep.
I would also like to mention, Ben and I actually talked about this on the phone last night. I do have Duke beating Louisville in their matchup later today.
Changed his mind after seeing their obliteration.
Change of heart. After the BC domination, as Ben just said. Ben, I'll start with you today. Temple or USF?
USF, they're both not great, but USF's really terrible. So I'm going to go with Temple here.
Going Tempo. Shout out Jeremiah Williams, went to Julian Middle School, played for Simeon. His cousin goes to OPUF and played basketball with Ben. Ben, that is Matt Poe, if you didn't know. Yes. I'm going Temple, the Philly school, probably number 2 or 3 in Jalen Brunson's recruitment. Jalen Brunson's father actually played at Temple. Legendary school.
Yep.
One of Temple's old coaches is currently the head assistant coach under Johan Howard at Michigan, which I think he's probably the best assistant coach in all of college basketball. I forget his name. It's Italian though, right?
Yeah, Phil Martelli.
I knew it was Martelli, something like that. And then Wichita State Temple, not even a debate. I'm taking the Shockers there. Ben, same with you.
The Shockers are the 1 overall seed in the American, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, that Houston's not the 1 overall seed. But Wichita State, its tournament hopes are resting on this tournament.
Yes, I believe, though, if they make it to the championship game, pick up a win against Cincy or SMU, they would be all but a lock.
Just rip John Chaney for Temple fans out there. Died early this year, so he was a legendary coach at Temple.
All right, Ben, I'll go to you. Cincinnati, SMU.
Cincinnati has a Michigan transfer, David Julius. He was a backup point guard last year and the year before that, and he transferred. I don't really know why, but we could use him this year. I'm a little hurt by his transfer, and I think that Cincinnati's not very good, so I will go with SMU.
Cincinnati needs most likely an American championship to get into the tournament. SMU needs most likely just an appearance in the championship game. Yeah. SMU is currently one of the first 8 out. I believe on ESPN they are number 7 or 6 right now, just missing the cutoff for teams that will go to Indy. SMU needs this. There's a sense of urgency there. Yep. I love their uniforms. So for that reason, not that reason solely, I'm going SMU to the semi against the Shockers of Wichita State. Moving down to the bottom half of the bracket, we have Tulane and Tulsa. Tulane also has some great uniforms. Current Villanova starting small forward Caleb Daniels played his freshman year at Tulane. Both teams are pretty bad this year, I'm not going to lie. I do have Tulsa, though, facing Houston in the second round. And then I guess I'll just say this. Houston's going to obliterate them. I don't even think we have to say that. So Houston moving on to the semifinal. Ben, I'll go to you.
I will note Tulsa beat Houston earlier in the year. That was very early in the American Conference play. Tulsa's kind of tanked since then, but I think they're better than Tulane, so I also have them beating Tulane. And on the other side of the bracket, East Carolina also beat Houston earlier in the year. They take on UCF. Does it say, Brad?
UCF, yes.
Yeah, UCF. I'll go with the upset there. Why not? East Carolina takes down UCF on that side.
You know, this is quite random, but I've watched a few ECU games. Noah Farrakhan, ex-5-star. Is that East Carolina? He was a 5-star prospect, Ben, just absolutely tanked. Ended up at ECU, had a bunch of interest. I know Penn State was up on his board. A bunch of P5 good schools. Ended up at East Carolina. Hasn't done a crazy bit. He was very close with Pop Smoke. I will leave that out there. He was good friends with Pop Smoke. R.I.P. Woo. UCF though, great coach. Nearly upset Duke a few years ago. Yep. I'm going UCF. Memphis UCF will be interesting. I'm going to go Memphis. They're talented. Penny Hardaway, even though he's insanely corrupt, he gets the job done. Recruits very well. I think they beat UCF, and they did nearly upset Houston this past weekend. Lost by 3 points on Saturday morning. So that is something to note as well.
So I technically have ECU in that game against Memphis because I'm a believer in their upset potential after watching them beat Houston. But I do think Memphis is playing for their NCAA tournament lives. They're also a team on the bubble. They have the second best defense in the country, and I believe that they're the second best team in the American Conference behind Houston. So I think they're going to win this matchup pretty easily.
All right, we move on to Houston, Memphis. This will be a dandy. Memphis needs it. I don't think they win it though. Ben, did my mic just do something?
No, you're good.
Okay, I just saw you cringe. I do have Houston though advancing to the AAC championship game, and they will be facing Wichita State in that game. I do think SMU could pull the upset, but I think it's Wichita State's year. Wichita State, Houston, not their year to win though. Houston takes care of business in the AAC championship.
Yeah, I disagree with you. Memphis and Houston played the first game, which was a classic. Houston hit a game-winning half-court shot, and Houston also lost one of its best players, Caleb Mills. He's done. Not going to play for Houston again. So I think all those factors are going to actually, and the fact that Memphis is desperate, I'm going to go with the upset here. Memphis takes down Houston.
Wow. All right, Ben dropping a bomb. I'm a huge Quentin Grimes fan. Mm-hmm. He is from College Station / Houston. Ended up going to Kansas. That didn't really work out. Transferred back to Houston. Has had a pretty solid year.
He's had a great year.
Risen up a bunch of draft boards. All right, that's the American. Let's move on.
Yeah, I'll just say I also have Memphis winning the American Conference title game. So.
Okay, yes. I was blanking on that. We are now on the Pac-12. We'll start out with Arizona State, Washington State. Not a great matchup, in all honesty. ASU early in the year was ranked, put up a decent fight against Villanova in the Mohegan Sun tournament. For that reason alone, Arizona State, Josh Christopher, he's played all right. I'm not going to lie, hasn't played great. I always thought he was overrated. Remy Martin's all right. Arizona State has some talent, just had a ton of injuries. They might be one of the most injury defeated teams this year, and I'm going the Sun Devils picking up a win here against Washington State.
I disagree firmly. I dislike Arizona State just because of what Josh Christopher did to Michigan, and I'm pretty sure Arizona State lost their last game of the season. They've kind of threw in the towel. They lost to Utah 98-59. So for that reason alone, they just seem to be a team that's kind of fallen apart. I'll go with Washington State in this one.
All right. I don't even think we have to talk. Oregon's going to take care of business. Ben, do you agree?
Yep.
All right. Move on to Washington, Utah. Utah's a team year in, year out. I used to be a huge – this is quite random, but Jacob Podol was a favorite of mine for a little bit. I believe he was there in 2015, 2016, maybe even 2014. Utah's Mormon. I'm going with the Mormons here. Go Utes.
Really?
Washington, one of the worst Power 5 teams. I think a game against them and Iowa State would be probably the most boring thing to watch in the world. I'm going that's another reason. Washington State is just Washington is just terrible.
They are. They started the year with their record that was abysmal. They've picked it up a little recently, but I agree with you. And the fact that Utah's coming off a 40-point drubbing against Arizona State, that gives me confidence Utah will take care of business there.
Don't think we have to talk. USC is going to take care of business. Evan Mobley and company. Ben, do you agree?
Well, I can hardly see the board, but is
it's USC, Ben. Will USC beat Utah?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay. Move on to Oregon State, UCLA. Sorry, but if you can't see it, the Pac-12 has a weird bracket. Decent game. Oregon State is not terrible this year. They're not good by any means, but they're not terrible. UCLA, I believe they were ranked for maybe a week or two at some point in the season.
Yeah, they were.
Give me the Bruins. Mick Cronin. I love him. Give me the Bruins.
I'm actually pretty shocked Oregon State snuck up to the 5 seed. They're normally one of the worst teams in the Power 5. But UCLA needs this. They're on a 3-game losing streak, and their tournament hopes are still intact, but they're now like a 10 or 11 seed. So give me UCLA in a game they need to win.
All right. Cal, Stanford. I'm going Stanford. Dyer Williams, ex-Sierra Canyon grad, has played very well. I believe he is pretty sure to be a lock unless he tears an ACL or something like that for the lottery. Ben, would you agree?
I agree, although I don't think he's Stanford's best player. I think Oscar Da Silva is
I would agree with you on
probably
that.
best player in
Yes,
Pac-12, maybe. I mean, he's up there, and
he's
a
up there.
great.
I think probably Evan Mobley, but yes, he's up there.
I thought you didn't like Evan Mobley.
I didn't 2 weeks ago. Popped on the highlights. No, Ben and I, we've been talking. The Bulls need a center. We'll talk about this in another video, but the Bulls need a center. I don't think anyone's doubting that. And Evan Mobley is pretty much that guy. So Ben and I are talking about Evan Mobley a lot. So yes, I didn't like him. I did a lot of research on him. I like him more. Stanford, Colorado. Going the Buffs here. Enter Tyler Bray. Colorado is a dangerous team. Year in and year out, they have been solid here recently. I feel like they fall apart at the end of the season, though. I believe they were ranked 21 going into 2 weeks ago's slate of games, and then they fell out of the top 25.
They had a bad loss to California.
Yes, and Cal is the 11 seed in the Pac-12 in a down year. Regardless, though, I think the Buffs win. This is definitely a game that Stanford can win, and by no means I would be shocked if Stanford does go out on top.
I got a couple notes on Colorado. They're the highest ranked Pac-12 team in almost every metric. Like they're a top 15 team in most, like any like analytics website you look at. And they also were put on ESPN as one of the 8 teams that could win it all.
Okay,
I don't agree with that like at all. I'm sorry. They have some good players. McKinley Wright, the fourth, he's their point guard. He's a great guy. He's a great player. I don't think they're that good. I think they will win this game. But I think we got to slow down the Colorado hype. They have like 3 quad 3 losses, so let's chill on that a little bit. But I do have them beating Stanford.
Yes. Then we move on to USC Colorado. I think this will be a pretty good game. Both these teams are pretty sure to be locked up for March Madness. But a Pac-12 title will definitely help. USC, I think, takes care of business. The USC over athletics hype is real. Football recruiting is going nuts. They had a pretty good year last year until their loss against Oregon, and then they pussied out of the bowl matchup against whoever. I hate when teams do that, but we won't talk about that. I know that was only a COVID thing, but still. I'm taking USC, though. I like the direction the program is headed, and I think they pick up a big-time win against the Buffs.
Yeah, I think USC is the most talented team in the conference by far, and Andy Enfield's a great coach. He was actually at Florida Gulf Coast when they had that little run in 2015 or 13, one of those 2 years. But anyway, yeah, USC with the Mobley brothers and Drew Peterson, Taj Edey. It's a talented team. I think they're going to take care of business against Colorado.
It is a talented team. Moving on to the Pac-12 other semifinal, we have Oregon, and we both had UCLA, Ben, correct?
Yeah.
All right. I'm taking Oregon. Chris Duarte, I'm a fan of him. Oh, my God, I'm forgetting his name. Figueroa.
LJ Figueroa.
Was an ex-St. John's standout at the power forward position, caused Villanova some trouble the past 2 years. He's been playing really good for Oregon. I have no reason to say why not. I'm taking Oregon to the Pac-12 championship game against USC.
Yeah, Dana Altman's a good coach. Oregon, I don't think is the best team in the Pac-12 this year, but they did win the Pac-12 regular conference title, or regular season title, I should say. I don't know. This is a tough one. I think they're pretty evenly matched, these two teams. I'll go with Oregon, though, just because they are better. I think they have a better coach.
Oregon early in the year lost 72-58 against USC. Just a little heads up there. Oregon also has won the last 5 of their games. The last loss before that were the Trojans on the road in LA. All right, let's go to the last conference, which is the SEC.
Whoa. Who do we have winning the Pac-12?
Oh, my fault. I have USC.
I do as well. I just want to make sure people knew that.
Okay, sorry. Yes, I also did that to you in the American. My fault. All right, SEC a little long. Actually, no, this is pretty good. Paul Feinbaum, hello. Texas A&M, Vanderbilt. Texas A&M, kind of shocked that they're doing this bad. They've had just a ton of games canceled because of COVID.
Yeah, wow.
I believe they've been out for like 5 or 6 weeks. Vandy, not so great either. They have a combined 5 wins in the SEC. That is just brutal. I'm taking Scottie Pippen Jr., though, and the Commodores to advance and get the socks blown off against Florida.
I feel like Vanderbilt just randomly has like NBA prospects like Aaron Nesmith and Darius Garland, two I can come off the top of my head, but they're not a very good team ever, I feel like, and this year is not much different. They're 3-13 in conference play, but Texas A&M's just worse, so I'll go with Vanderbilt.
Ben's going Vandy. We go to Mississippi State, Kentucky. This is a game Mississippi State needs to win to stay even remotely close to making the first four out, I guess. Kentucky, though, talented nevertheless. End of the year, not bad. I also want to point out this stat, Ben, for the viewers at home. Notre Dame has so far this year beat Duke and Kentucky, and they will play UNC. I believe tonight or it might be tomorrow. So look, think about that, Ben. Notre Dame could beat UNC, Duke, and Kentucky in the same year.
And not even come close to making the tournament.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Tim said Eagles are playing horrible. You know what, Tim? Let's check the score of that one. Pulling up the ESPN. You guys can't see, though. The score of that game. Notre Dame does play tonight, by the way. Clemson is up against Miami by 4 so far at half. The score of the Marquette game, for anyone curious, is 21-8. Georgetown is up 13 minutes into the first half. Tim, that is brutal, but good for Villanova. I'd much rather play the Hoyas. Okay. Florida, Vandy, Ben. Don't even have to talk. That is Florida all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Florida did have a huge win against West Virginia, a pretty convincing win on the road in December. I want to point that out there. Georgia, Mizzou. Taking Mizzou. Mizzou was ranked for a large part of the year, moved all the way up to 6, I believe, in mid-December or early December. The wheels kind of came crashing down for the Tigers, but still a solid team. I think they take care of business against Georgia. I'll finish this one up. I have Ole Miss. I like the direction in which Ole Miss program is heading. 10-8 in the SEC is no small feat. Taking the Rebels, Ben.
All right, I'll go in the Georgia-Missouri game. Missouri, it's kind of shocking that they're the 7th seed in the SEC. You felt like they were a top 20 team for most years, as Brad said, but they're only 8-8 in conference play, which is not great, but they're still safely in the tournament. They're still a good team. I'll go with them against Georgia. And then I agree with Brad. I like the way Ole Miss is heading. They ended the year really strong. Devontae Shuler, that's a name you should know. He's their best player, and he's one of the best players in the SEC. He's a dynamic guard, but
he's a guy, an underrated guy on my draft board that you might see and you might hear a lot about if you are a friend of me or if you tune into the show. Moving up to Alabama, we both have – who do we have, Ben? I have Mississippi State.
Oh, I never made my pick there.
My fault, yeah.
I'm going to go with Kentucky there just based on talent. And they also lost them in their first matchup, so I think Kentucky will have revenge in that game.
All right. Ben is Kentucky, Bama. Ben, who you taking, Bama?
Although I think it'll be close. I think Kentucky plays up to their competition, but they also play down to competition. So I have Bama, but I think that game will actually be close.
I think Bama Mississippi State will be close. I think this is a game Mississippi State could legitimately win. This is kind of a shocking statement to be making right now. I think it'll be close, though. Mississippi State is going to be keeping Alabama on upset watch. I do have the Tide, though. Roll Tide, roll. They'll be making the SEC semis. Moving on to Florida, Tennessee. Pretty good game. Florida needs this to lock themselves in the tournament. Tennessee is already a lock. I don't know how much they want it. Ended the season a little bit poorly. I'm taking the Gators. Go Gator. Florida advances to face Alabama in the SEC semis. Ben, I'll let you go ahead with your picks.
I'll just make a bracketology note. I think both these teams are locks, Florida and Tennessee. And I think Florida's better than Tennessee, just in my opinion. Tennessee's offense just really isn't good. So I'm going to go with Florida there as well. And, yeah, should we go down to
Florida is looking solid. Ben is right on that.
And another Michigan transfer had a really good year.
Arkansas, Mizzou. Arkansas is super hot right now. Moses Moody is on the thumbnail of this video. I am taking the Razorbacks. And I think Arkansas will actually win this tournament. I think Arkansas will be the SEC champion, but we'll move on. Ben, do you agree with me? Arkansas is taking care of business.
I agree that Arkansas wins against Missouri, although I think it'll be a good game. I agree Moses Moody's one of those few guys that was a 5-star or was he a 5-star? He was a high.
So he was number 44 on 247. I was looking at the list earlier today, Ben. Johan Howard was all over his recruitment. He is from Little Rock, Arkansas. Top 3 of UVA, Arkansas, and Michigan. Michigan was perceived the leader for some time. Did not end up in Michigan's favor, as we all know. He's had a great career, though, at Arkansas, and is most likely going to be a top 20 or 25 pick. I've seen him as high as number 10, 11, 12 in some mock drafts. Last year, it is a little high. Last year, he was probably in the 40, 45, 50 range. Decided to come back to school. I remember having him on my board around there. Smart, great decision. And a very good year for Arkansas, too.
Mm-hmm.
LSU Ole Miss. Super surprised LSU is this high. Shaquille O'Neal plays for the Tigers. I think Ole Miss could legitimately upset them, and I'm going to pick Ole Miss. You know what? Go Rebels.
I honestly agree. LSU's offense is a top 10 team in college basketball. Their offense ranked-wise, but defense has let them down consistently. They had a horrible choke against Texas Tech in the SEC Big 12 Challenge that I can't get out of my head, so I'm also going to go with Ole Miss because Ole Miss needs to make a run to the final if they want to make the tournament. So I got Ole Miss there.
All right. We got the Gators and Alabama. I'm taking Alabama. I think it'll be close. Scotty Lewis and company won't be able to do that much. Kerryon Johnson, for anyone wondering, has still not returned to action. He is with the team as, I guess, like a helper coach. He's hoping to return next year. He's not ruled out a return, though. So he was super talented. I mean, he was probably their second or third best player, if not number one.
Oh, Keontae?
I don't know why I call him Kerryon.
I think he was their best player. He was the preseason SEC Player of the Year on the AP thing. So, I mean, he was good.
He was great. He was great. Scotty Lewis, though, is a guy I watched a ton of his high school highlights. I thought Villanova would end up landing him. They didn't. I'm a big Scotty Lewis fan, even though he's there. I think he's a solid player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to have a big year next year if he returns, which he most likely will. Anyways, let's keep going.
I'll make my pick there, too.
Yeah.
Alabama against Florida. I think Alabama has another Villanova former guy,
Javon Quinolary, Jelly JQ, 5-star from New Jersey.
But their best players are John Petty, Herb Jones. I don't know why I called him Herb Jones. And I can't remember this guy's name, but that's unfortunate. Brad, you know the wing? It's not going to come to me. Elo? No, I don't know what his name is, but they got a great shooting cast. Alabama's going to win this game.
Alabama takes care of business. We then have Ole Miss and Arkansas. I think Arkansas blows the socks off of Ole Miss. Their Cinderella run comes to an end. Arkansas then facing Bama in the title game, which will be a very good game. It's the prelim to the Big Ten championship game Sunday. I remember I always watched the SEC early in the day, and then we go into the Big Ten right before selection Sunday. That's how it goes in my family. And then you also have the A-10 on if you want to watch that. Same with you, Ben? Do you agree with that?
I agree with
that.
Goes
SEC A-10 for a little bit, and I don't know how I remember that. We haven't even had it since 2019, but I'm going to end up taking Arkansas here in a close game, a high-scoring game, but I think Moses Moody is the difference. Go Razorbacks.
Yep, I agree with you. I think Arkansas is the hottest team in the country, save maybe Illinois and Gonzaga. And
Baylor. I think Baylor.
Well, Baylor just lost recently. That's why I'm not going to.
That was like a week and a half. Okay.
It was a week and a half ago. Arkansas has been red hot for a while now. So I'm going to go with Arkansas to also beat Ole Miss. I think Arkansas is the best team in the ACC or SEC, just like Brad said.
All right. There's the video, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe.
Whoa. Did we do American?
Yes, Ben. That was the first one we did.
Oh, okay. I forgot. And
right.
A10, quick A10 pick. Who do you got?
A10. I'll let you go first.
I'll make sure. Also, I have Arkansas winning the SEC chip. I don't know if I said that, but for the A10 tournament, it's between VCU and St. Bonaventure.
The Bonnies.
Nashon Highland.
Woj's alma mater.
Oh, really?
Woj was going at it on Twitter, actually, with some St. Louis fans. The Bonnies had a game against St. Louis, so they blew them out. I believe it was like 70-50.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some mad St. Louis fans.
Yeah.
Got it. Woj shut him up.
But yeah, this game's between two bubble teams. VCU is like a 10 or 11 seed, and the Bonnies are like a 9 or 10 seed. So they both want to win just to secure their spot in the tourney. I'm gonna go with St. Bonaventure. I think that they've been the best team in that conference all year, and it's actually an underrated conference this year. So I'm gonna go with St. Bonaventure.
I agree with Ben. I'm going the Bonnies. I'm going the Bonnies. You know what? Screw it. This is for you, Woj. Both solid records, 19-6 and 15-4 on the year. Both 4 losses in the conference. It'll be a solid game. Have it on after the SEC title game finishes.
It's a weird conference format. They play like all their games early, and then they save this one game.
It is, yes. But I'm going the Bonnies. It's for TV time, Ben. But it'll be interesting, especially after a week and a half of rest.
Yeah.
I wonder if the kids go back to campus during COVID. I'd assume so. That's a lot of money in hotels and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. We'll see. But, yeah, that's the video, guys. Got all of our picks in. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share with your friends. Comment. I will respond to all the comments.